Loki, make me co-host.
Deep sir, there's a special permission. Anyone can share the screen. Anyone can unmute and talk.
Co-host. We can inform, I think, the chief guest and guest to join.
Tarunjot has said he'll be joining during his time slot only because he has some important meetings. Uh, Gurpreet might be joining around 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we have Simlata madam joining in. We are waiting for Vandana ma'am and Sridhar sir.
Yes. Hello, madam.
Sir, how are you?
Good, madam, as usual.
Thanks for the opportunity, actually.
Madam, thank you, madam. So we have two more speakers today, madam. And we have Sridhar sir joining and Vandana madam joining.
Vandana madam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard, sir.
Yeah. So I think she is trying to join. Uma, let check with Vandana madam if she is joining. And it is already in live, madam. YouTube live, it is already there. So many people are watching in YouTube already. Lokik, make all the team available in YouTube to see if there are any questions.
Okay, sir.
We'll wait for, I think, 2 more minutes. Vandana madam has to join. And Sridhar sir has to join. Laukik or Uma, Vandana madam has replied anything?
I'm checking with her, sir. Vandana ma'am seems to be offline. Let me try to dial her.
Check with Sridhar, sir. Uma, Sridhar sir is joining.
Sir has not answered my call, sir. Vandana ma'am as well, sir.
Okay, she is joining.
Both are not answering my call.
Okay, I think we'll wait for 2 more minutes.
Yes, sir.
In the meantime, people are joining, so we'll wait for 2 more minutes. Another 1 minute, we'll wait, Uma, and then we'll start up and check with Gurpreet. He's joining.
Okay, sir.
I think Sridhar sir has joined. Good evening, Sridhar sir. Sridhar sir, good evening. Sridhar sir, Sumalata madam has joined. We are waiting for other two guests. One is Gurpreet, and one more is we are waiting for Vandana madam, so that she can give chief guest address. So both are trying to join, if I'm not wrong. Okay. I'll give another 2 minutes of time so that Vandana madam and also Gurpreet joins. Just checking with Gurpreet.
Good evening.
Good
Hello.
evening, Sridhar sir.
Good
Good
evening,
evening, sir. Good evening.
Sumlat madam. And everything. Mujib, please excuse me. I have to leave because I have this FDA meeting parallelly. I'll join in between.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Thank
Good
Thank you,
evening,
sir.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, I think Sridhar sir is facing some US FDA audit and they have a meeting. So he has to join there, I think. So we'll start, Uma. In the meantime, if Vandana madam has joins, then we can take it forward.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just exactly 1 minute we'll give.
Yes, sir. 1 minute more.
Sir, who is speaker today? Actually, Vandana ma'am.
We have two speakers, ma'am, actually. One is
Okay.
the other is Taranjot.
Okay.
Both are from the industry.
Ah, okay, okay.
So it's a mix of both academia and the industry. Speakers are mostly from the industry, and we have all the chief guests mostly from IPA or from the government side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
I think Uma will start, and if Vandana Madam joins or replies to your call, just give a heads up. We'll start with Sumulata Madam because Sumulata Madam is already joined. So
yes, sir.
we'll let things go on, and
Yes, sir.
then we'll make it forward for the next kind of things.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Please go.
Yeah. So in the meantime, can you check with Gurpreet and also what?
Gurpreet sir has said that he'll be joining on time, probably around 6 o'clock. I'll ask him to join a little earlier.
Yeah,
Taranjot has some
because
meeting, so he'll be joining a little.
so if he can join after Sumlata Madam session, initial discussion talk if Vandana Madam is busy, so we can start the session directly with the Gurpreet session.
Sure, sir. I'll check with Gurpreet.
Yeah, perfect. So thank you, Sumlata Madam, for joining. So I would like to take few minutes of the overview of the PV Leaders Connect and webinar series, why we started and what was done in this all 7 days, how the things happened, all the 7 days I'll be speaking about it. The first one, the objective of significance of 7-day global pharmacovigilance series. The point number one was enhancing the pharmacovigilance understanding. Series of 7 days improves the knowledge and awareness of global pharmacovigilance practices and its importance in drug safety. And the second one provides global collaboration with the different regions, different countries, different strategies, and different things to make sure the effective pharmacovigilance has been done. The third point, addressing the emerging safety challenges across all globe. There might be some issues and emerging challenges which are being upcoming. So how can we address the emerging safety challenges we have discussed in this 7 days? The structure and schedule of event, the 7-day duration. Each day there were two speakers and one or two chief guests. The structure of event was planned over 7 days, allowing the comprehensive coverage of pharmacovigilance topics. It was daily thematic views. Every day there was different pharmacovigilance topic, ensuring in-depth knowledge and discussion, learning of pharmacovigilance. Like we were taking ICSR, signal management, risk management plans, and aggregate reporting, and all those things. We were keep on engaging and also having interaction with the students who joins in YouTube Live. There are hundreds of students who have joined in YouTube Live and listening to us. And key themes were regulatory updates, stay informed about the latest regulatory implications, practices, and compliance requirements. The second one is signal detection and risk management. The third one is technological innovations, how we can explore more technological innovations. And the fourth one, expected outcome was achieve enhanced knowledge, which is the most important thing, enhanced knowledge to build a professional network and also develop actionable strategies in pharmacovigilance. The program creators, as you know, madam, we had Dr. Sridhar Y, IPA Industry Division. He's the Honorable Secretary for IPA Industry Division. And proven pharmacovigilance leader, oversees the worldwide pharmacovigilance operation, one of the world's leading biopharmaceutical companies. With decades of experience in drug safety and regulatory compliance and risk management, he has played a pivotal role in shaping the global pharmacovigilance practices. His expertise lies between the robust safety systems and also driving the operation excellence and ensuring the patient safety across the diverse therapeutic area. One more person behind this, it's CS Mujibuddin, founder and CEO of Clinosol Research. That's me. I am the founder and CEO of Clinosol Research Private Limited, a leading organization dedicated in advancing clinical research with law, pharmacovigilance, and skill development solutions. So the recap of the event, which was very interesting stories, which we had 7 days. Today is last day. We are very excited to have last day. Day one, we had 17 September, Dr. R.N. Gupta, National President of Indian Pharmaceutical Association, delivered keynote and as a chief guest address on day 1. We had our Honorable Dr. T.V. Narayana sir, our mentor, guide, and president of CFM Forum, and past president of Indian Pharmaceutical Association. Both chief guests were on day 1, which was on 17th September. Day 2, we had 18th September, Dr. Ramesh Aripu, MPharm PhD, Principal Director, Vikas College, Vice President IPA, Chairman IHPD, Vice President HPS FIP, and Indian Pharmaceutical Association. Day 3, we had 19th September, Dr. S. Vidyadhara, who is a professor principal of CHIPS, and also uh, he is well-known person in Indian Pharmaceutical Association. Day 4, we had 20th September, Subhash C. Mandal, National Honorary General Secretary, Mumbai Indian Pharmaceutical Association. And day 4, we had one more chief guest, Raj Vaidya, MPharm PhD, Pharmacy Practice, and also he is in IPA Vice President. Day 5, we had 21st September, Manjri Garat, we had in charge principal for this, Kundani Pharmacy Polytechnic College, and past vice president of IPA and also FIP, executive committee member for CR Farm and FIP and WHO. And then day 6, we had 22nd September, Dr. Milan J. Umekar. We had President, Indian Pharmaceutical Congress Association, IPCA, and also the President, APTI. And day 6, we had Raja Banu, who is the Director General of Pharmaxel, Pharmaceutical Export Promotion Council of India. So that was the chief guest, and guest speakers is a big list, 1 day to day 6. Day 1, we had first speaker, Dr. Rajendra Kumar, Vice President, Global Head Pharmacovigilance of Glenmark. Day 1, we had the second speaker, Dr. Divya Palacharla, CEO, founder of SafeVeg. Day 2, we had Dr. Deepa Arora, CEO, Clinoxal Life Sciences, IND and Clinoxal INC USA. Day 2, we had Dr. Priyanka Das, Associate Director, Global Safety Quality. And day 3, we had Carl, who was a Senior Director, Global Risk Management and Pharmacovigilance Compliance with Amnil. And day 3, we had one more time speaker as CS Mujibuddin, MPharm MSc, founder and CEO for Clinosol Research. That's me one more time. Day 4, we had Ranjit Barshikar, CEO of QBD, Quality by Design, and CGMP Consultant, United Nations Advisor, and Geneva. And day 4, we have Mr. Sriram Reddy, who is a clinical development and medical affairs at GCBC Vaccines Private Limited. So that was a day 4 speaker. And day 5 speaker, we had Anju, Dr. Anju Sawant, Country Pharmacovigilance Head, R&D Vendor Oversight Governance and Strategic Thinker, who was more into India and also Korean market. And day 5, we had Dr. Rohini Pandey, Director, PV Operations Abbott Laboratory. So she was there for day 5, which was on Sunday. Day 6, we had Dr. Shraddha Bange, Senior Medical Safety Lead, and she was from Sandoz. And day 6, we had Dr. Avinash Kakade, MBBS, MPhil, FR, SPH, PMP, Senior Vice President and Global Head of Pharmacovigilance Medical Doctor for Dr. Reddy's. So Avinash Kakade was for Dr. Reddy's. And this is one more interesting story which we are closing it today, madam. The National Pharmacovigilance Week 2025 competitions, we had 5 events conducted offline for all the students who are from Clinosol. The first event was Pharma Quiz competition. Team Rabbit was a winner. The Team Rabbit consists of Aman, Shivgopal, Chaitanya, Teja, and Nishkruta. And day 2, we had poster presentation. The first place is Alai Sanjana Rakesh. Second place is Priyanka Ajit Mandal. Third place is Amar Lal. And day 3, we had short video, reel content preparation and uploading. The first prize was Kaviti Ruchita, and second prize was Harish, and third prize was Nischala Ponaganti. And day 4, we had case study competitions, Aman Mohammed and Chandra Sai, Likita, and also Chandra. And day 5, we had debate competition. Should ADR report is mandatory to patients too? So that was batch 4 winners, Venya, Shivgopal, and also Isha Thakur. And batch 1 was runner-up with Chandra Sai, Harish, and also Likita. So I would like to thank all the people who have actively participated in registrations for more than 1,000 for both PVPI online events and offline events, the competition winners which we have hosted. And without any delay, so we are moving on to the chief guest note. We have one of the dynamic leader, Dr. Sumalata G, Professor, Principal, Vikas, Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, and she is also Vice President for Indian Pharmaceutical Association Educational Division. So Sumalata Madam is MPharm PhD, distinguished academician and researcher with over 18 years of experience in the field of pharmaceutical sciences. Currently, she is serving as a professor and principal at Vikas College or Vikas Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Sciences, Rajahmundry, where she has been instrumental in driving the academic excellence, research, innovations, and student development. She also holds prestigious position as Chairman, Education Division for IPA, and has been actively involved in various national and international professional body. Her contribution to pharmacy education and research have earned her recognition to global forums, including FIP World Congress, Federation of Asian Association of Pharmaceutical Aspects, which is FAPA, where she presented the research, chaired the session, and also contributed to academic policy discussions. And she was been very recently to FIP International Conference also in Denmark. Her research expertise lies in pharmacology and also drug development, and with strong focus on evaluating anti-cancerous and also anti-diabetic molecules and agents, leading to several patients and impacted publication has been put by Madam. She has successfully bridged the traditional medicine with the modern pharmaceutical application, gaining the international acclaim for her innovation work or innovative work. For her outstanding contribution, Dr. Sumalata has received numerous awards, honors, including IPA Fellowship Award, Young Woman Principal Award by APTI, recognition awards from FIP. Beyond her achievement, she is deeply committed to nurture the next generation of pharmacists, encouraging students to embrace the research, innovation, and professional ethics. So, Madam, thank you for accepting today to give a chief guest note, Madam. We are honored to listen to you. Over to you, Madam.
Yeah, good evening to one and all. At the outset, I'd like to thank Dr. Sridhar sir and Muzibuddin sir for giving me this opportunity. And I have gone through all the activities and the things which happened all these 6 days. Really, very good initiative by you, sir, because with a lot of selfless efforts and energy, you have conducted all these things. A big congratulations to you. On behalf of Indian Pharmaceutical Association, I'm delighted to extend my warm greetings to each of you who are attending today's session of this Global PV Connect 2025 webinar series. As a chairperson of the IP Education Division, uh, really it gives me an immense pride to see how this initiative has brought together distinguished leaders, passionate learners, and professionals from across the globe on one common platform. So this credit goes to, again, Dr. Sridhar sir and Mujibuddin sir. Pharmacovigilance, I think it is the backbone of patient safety, and platforms like this, like not only strengthens our professional network, but also I strongly believe that it also nurture a culture of continuous learning. I take this opportunity to sincerely thank you, thank all the guest speakers who accepted the invitation of these back screen heroes for accepting their invitation and for rendering your service to the profession and your willingness to share your expertise, which reflects the two true spirits of collaboration. And we are confident that your insights will inspire participants and spark meaningful discussions during the session. The theme of this series, PV leaders share, learners grow, and safety thrives. It perfectly captures Our vision, knowledge shared selflessly is knowledge multiplied, I feel always, ultimately leading to safer healthcare system. So whatever they thought, they executed, they have done is leading to safer healthcare systems, I believe. And without delay, I wish today's session a great success and encourage all participants to engage actively, ask questions, and take back valuable learnings to implement in your professional journey, whatever may be your workplace or whatever may be your cadre or your thing. I wish all of you to learn valuable things and to implement in your professional journey. And thank you once again, and let us continue working together to make pharmacovigilance stronger and patient care safer. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Uma. And thank you, Mujibuddin sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much for the wonderful speech and a keynote address, ma'am.
Okay.
Munib, so over
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and introduce my next speaker, a very dynamic person, a very good friend of mine. So Gurpreet sir, we have honor to have you here. Sir is very busy, and though he's very busy, he has accepted to give a talk. He's traveling, but still he's able to manage to take a session. We are very honored to have Gurpreet sir. He's a very nice person and very humble, very close friend of mine. Gurpreet Singh, Vice President, Managing Director, Integrated Safety, IQVIA UK. He is currently a Vice President and Managing Director at IQVIA. He is based out of UK and total of 20 years of experience in pharma industry with 18 plus years of experience in global drug development. During these years, he has been opportunity to work with some top global companies like Cognizant, Tata Consultancy, Novartis, Parexel. At Novartis, he was global head of PV, managing global PV activities. At present, he is a senior director for most of things in project front, top for global pharma and biotech companies. Gurpreet is certified Six Sigma project management certified professionals. He has been keen interest in digital transformation and organization culture and has successfully led to various projects during his tenure in pharma industry. He has been an avid runner and also a speaker at most of pharma conferences. He's very busy person and travels so much here and there, and we try to get some time to talk. Gurpreet sir, it's over to you. My team is going to share the screen, and you can unmute and
Lokiki is displaying sir slide, sir.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Mujib.
Thank
Am I
you, sir.
audible?
Yeah, you are audible. I'm very
Okay.
thankful that you have joined, though you are busy.
Yeah. No, my apologies. I'm actually traveling back. There was a emergency situation at home, so I had to attend to that, and I'm traveling back. I'm on the way, so I'm not able to switch on my camera because the network is poor. But I hope you all are able to hear me so that I can at least
Yes, sir. We are able to hear you. Your slides are on.
full session. Of you. Let me know in case. Let me know. Say so. Today I'll be talking about so important. Why we are opportunities and what is it that we can do as an industry from a patient safety perspective. Next slide, please. Now, if you look at it, pharmacovigilance or patient safety. I think we've already covered the bio sketch. Pharmacovigilance or patient safety has become extremely important. And if you look at the data, 460 plus medicinal products have been withdrawn from the market in the last 50, 60 years. And when I say withdrawn, these have been totally withdrawn from the market. And the major reason for that is obviously hepatotoxicity and cardiotoxicity. But the financial impact that's happened on the various organizations has been phenomenal. And this has also been a very important aspect of patient safety. What companies, industries have realized over the last 50, 60 years that inadequate pharmacovigilance or lack of data on adverse events can really impact an element, but also financially, it can really impact a company in a big way. Next slide, please. If you look at pharmacovigilance, It has evolved. And one of the major reasons why I think it's evolved over the last 20 years is because of what happened in 2004. And that was really the I would say the change which brought in the modern day pharmacovigilance or patient safety. Vioxx, as you all would know, was a drug which was launched somewhere early 2000 for the treatment of arthritis, pain relief. And within the first couple of years, it became a blockbuster drug. Everybody believed that this is going to be the drug which is going to treat patients of arthritis, give the relief. But unfortunately, a couple of years after its launch, people realized that there were a number of instances of increased heart strokes, heart attacks, and also a lot of other cardiovascular effects, resulting in deaths across several patients in the world. That resulted in almost $10 billion of law settlements, because as you know, US, Europe, and Japan are regulated markets, and this resulted in significant amount of lawsuits for Merck, which at that point of time was one of the top companies in the world. Obviously, its share price tanked, and it really did not continue to make the revenues that it had. But that really resulted not only in a lot of financial loss, but a lot of reputational damage. Was a wake up call for the industry. Health authorities, pharma industry all started taking pharmacovigilance very seriously. Each organization started building its own pharmacovigilance department, making sure they were aligned with the health authority requirements. And health authorities started a lot of periodic inspections to make sure that pharma organizations have a strong pharmacovigilance system management, right? That was really, I would say, the modern day evolution of pharmacovigilance. Now, after that, there have been instances. If you look at the news today, we're talking about Ozempic, and we're talking about the number of people who've turned blind because of usage of that for weight loss and other indications that we are seeing. So there's still a $2 billion lawsuit on Ozempic. So these kind of situations keep happening. But the good news is that in 2004 we were very reactive. We were an industry who reacted on data almost 2 years after the product got launched. Today, fortunately, we've got better tools, better technologies, better processes, so that we can actually make decisions faster, we can identify signals faster, and we can make actions for the benefit of patient safety in real time. That is really what pharmacovigilance has evolved. Next slide, please. And if you look at what pharmacovigilance has today become. Earlier, pharmacovigilance was all about collecting adverse event reports and manually processing it in the system and reporting. But today, pharmacovigilance is all about early detection, continuous monitoring, and signal detection. We're talking about opportunities where we could use real world evidence, real world data. Things like electronic health records, medical records are being tracked, so that we can actually get all real time information, and we can actually make an impact to patient safety life. No longer are we talking about reactive approach. We're talking about proactive risk management, proactive risk management plans, and we're talking about regulatory compliance and quality to the level of 100%. You'll be surprised that when I face a lot of inspections, the expectation from the health authorities have always been that they want us to be 100% compliant on all of the reports that we receive in terms of adverse events. And to be fair, they're not wrong, because at the end of the day, we are dealing with patients' life, and what matters most is patient safety. So early detection, risk management, regulatory compliance, post-marketing surveillance, the use of real-world data is what has become the buzzwords in pharmacovigilance. Back in the years, 20 years back, when I started pharmacovigilance, it was very manual. We used to get adverse event reports as paper cases from various parts of the world. My team in India would download those, process those, and then they would be submitted manually to the health authority. But today, that has changed. Today, everything is automated. We have global databases where we process this information, and as a result of that, we've got better tools which can help us to identify signals in real time and make real time action. Now, this is where pharmacovigilance has come in. Now, a lot of this has happened because of the great collaboration. When I started in the industry, where I started as a process trainer, back in the days, it was difficult to find people with pharmacovigilance knowledge and experience. But because of the global collaboration, because we were able to work with different companies across the world, we were able to actually bring in a lot of education, knowledge, and communication collaboration within the industry that is today helped us to have more than 50,000 people working in India on pharmacovigilance. And you'll be surprised to hear that when I speak at conferences at London and Boston, people actually really look up to people in India to help them guide and explain the pharmacovigilance regulations. And I was amazed myself that there are people in India who understand FDA regulations and MHRA regulations much better than many of the people out there. And that's a very big, strong point for our country, which has really developed that pharmacovigilance capability in the last 15, 20 years. Now, all of this has been happening because of global collaboration, great amount of education, communication, and also the fact that we are looking at risk management and benefit risk evaluation more proactively. Now, if you look at the India context, obviously Pharmacovigilance Program of India is playing a major role. I'm a speaker at many of their sessions. We are trying to really bring in that same global practices to make sure that regulatory reporting and adverse event information is done really well. So a lot of progress is happening in that space. Obviously, there is more to be done, and as an industry, we are obviously gearing up to making this more impactful over the next few years. Next slide, please. Now, quickly, I'm sure during these last 7 days, somebody would have explained to you about the market, and I'm sure all of you know that today the market values are approximately about $7.95 billion. And while many optimistic people think it's going to go to $15 billion, conservatively, you can still say at a growth rate of 6.8%, assuming in the next 5 years will still be about a $12 billion industry, which is not a small number considering that 20 years back, very few people in India actually understood pharmacovigilance. So that's really the growth that we are seeing in the global market. And India plays a very important role considering that we are building up those organizations. We've got a lot of clinical research organizations like IQVIA, Parexel, Syneos. We've got IT enabled organizations like Cognizant, TCS, Accenture, and then we also have a lot of the niche service providers along with the pharma organizations. And I'm sure all of you know that most of the pharma companies globally are really working with clinical research organizations and IT enabled organizations, other service providers to do the work. And interesting data is that almost 60% of the work that global pharma companies are doing on pharmacovigilance is outsourced to the service providers, not only because the service providers can help them with operational excellence, but more and more there is a need for pharma companies to leverage on process excellence and also drive the technology values that these clinical research organizations bring in. Now, if you look at the key trends over here, on the top, if you see, I'm talking about quality and compliance. And I think quality and compliance is a given in pharmacovigilance now. Back in the day, 20 years back, we were still debating about whether we should track quality at a defect per million opportunity level or a defect per unit level. I think by far the industry is fairly aligned that because we are dealing with patient life, it should be looked at defect per unit. Every error in a case is actually accountable for an impact to a patient. So that's changed. Now the expectations are that out of all the cases that are processed, and in some companies it can also run into thousands of cases, the expectation is that only about 2 to 3% of cases should have an error. Otherwise, the expectation is we should be as close to 100% as possible. We're expected to be 100% compliance. I've seen instances where certain companies have received a critical 483 finding from FDA for just 2 late reports. And the reason for that was that those 2 reports impacted patient safety and the signal in a big way. So that is really how quality and compliance has become important in the last 20 years. Now, today, we are also talking about how can we make this better? How can we make our processes better? Now, pharmacovigilance, like all other clinical research processes or projects, if you look at it, there is a process. We've got SOPs, teams are working on those SOPs. But in many cases, we are observing that some of these SOPs may become redundant or may have become redundant. In the last 5 years, I'm seeing a conscious effort by the pharma industry, by the clinical research organizations to identify processes which are no longer valuable, which are no longer adding any specific benefit to the process, and removing these kind of redundant processes by using Lean Six Sigma or Six Sigma methodology, and thereby bringing in the efficiency that's required. required. Now, efficiency is not only in terms of the quality and compliance, but also improving the productivity, because at the end of the day, you have large volume of cases coming in year on year, and you need to manage that with a significant team size. So quality, compliance, process excellence are really the process part of the pillar of pharmacovigilance, which most of the companies are currently focusing on. On the bottom over here, you will see that I'm talking about things like digital transformation, data, and analytics. And I'm sure all of you have understood about technology, the use of technology. And I think technology has evolved rapidly in the last 5 years. But, when people say that, it's happened only in the 5 years, I kind of disagree, because technology has been slowly stepping in the last 20 years. My first project on, pharmacovigilance technology I did in 2017 was about robotic process automation. And I remember when I started that project, most of the people thought this was difficult, this was unachievable. But we were able to bring in about 20% efficiency by doing robotic process automation for the structured data which came in through E2B files. So there was a lot of progress there. Now, from 2017 till now, in the last 10 years, there's been a good journey. Today, I think we are going much faster. And if you look at whether it's about machine learning, which we are using for literature, unstructured kind of data can be converted into structured, or whether we're talking about things like generative AI, and now the new one, which is agentic AI, that is going to be really the game changer for pharmacovigilance. Now, I was talking to a few gentlemen in San Francisco who are trying to work on models which can help integrate different sources of data directly into the safety database, and that's going to be a game changer. How great it would be, if you have somebody in US or Japan able to report directly an adverse event through the scanning of a QR code, or through his Apple Watch. That's what's going to change the world. So a lot of technology is being brought in, not only from the healthcare perspective, but also from the pharmacovigilance perspective. And for those of you who've read the recent reports, market reports, it very clearly says that the next 10 years, technology is going to make a big impact in the industry, which is healthcare. And obviously pharma is a part of that, because in so far, we've only done about 1% or 10% at the most of impact in the healthcare industry, but the remaining 90-95% of impact is yet to come. And that's why if you see a lot of investors, a lot of market revenue coming into this space, because the next 10 years technology is going to change the way we look at healthcare and obviously pharmacovigilance. Now, within pharmacovigilance and obviously in clinical research as well, there's a lot of data that we deal with. There's tons of data. And I think it's important for us to really analyze that data, make meaningful sense out of that, and be able to drive trends so that we could really take the right decisions. So that's why if you see, increased focus on data analytics. Most of the companies that you've heard about doing pharmacovigilance, they've got dedicated teams which are working on data analytics, identifying how to make the sense out of this data. I remember 15 years back, we were working on a forecasting tool. We wanted to look at and forecast what would be the annual adverse event reports with certain products. And unfortunately, back then, the technology was not so advanced to be able to do that. But today, if we were to create a forecasting tool using generative AI, it's really easy, and it also helps us to really drive the right conclusion. So that's really the focus as far as the industry is concerned. Now, on the right hand side, if you see, I'm talking about things like organization culture and talent management. Gone are the days when we were talking about people just being hired and people just doing the same work again and again. Today, companies are talking about hiring the right talent, developing them and retaining them. No longer just the pharmacovigilance knowledge or the pharmacology knowledge is important. Now we need people who have the learning agility, who have the ability to upskill themselves periodically, and also be able to use technology much effectively. So that's where the market is moving. That's where talent is happening. And companies have started realizing, and a lot of investment is happening in this space, wherein companies are building in the right culture to help the people be able to develop those talent and be able to develop those skills which can make them successful. Now, you will believe it or not, pharmacovigilance, when I started in the industry, was considered a niche skill. When when we compared with the other areas, because it was difficult to get people, and it was difficult for obviously people to stay for long, because it requires a lot of effort and a lot of energy. But today, if you look at it, pharmacovigilance has evolved as a practice. It's stabilized as a practice. I have seen people who started as case processors now being at directors and associate director levels, really moving up the value chain, doing different kinds of activities in a span of about 12 to 15 years. And that's a big achievement for the industry as a whole. So the organization culture, the talent management practices have really evolved and really made pharmacovigilance one of the most exciting areas to work within drug development. Let's talk about now one of the other important elements, which is outsourcing. And I already mentioned almost 60% of the pharmacovigilance work is outsourced. It is difficult to imagine pharma companies working on pharmacovigilance without service providers, and that's going to continue to be the case. But one of the interesting elements that's happening, which is also influencing pharmacovigilance, is the rise of mergers and acquisitions. Now, I'm sure all merging together to create larger entities offline. And then if you look at it, larger companies are also acquiring smaller companies. Earlier this year, I was in Boston for a conference, and I was amazed that we have about 200 plus biotech companies in the Boston, New York area. And all of these are one or two molecule companies who are really passionate about R&D and coming up with new molecules. So large pharma obviously is acquiring these small biotechs or startups, obviously to increase its pipeline, and also helps the small biotechs because they get the investment and the funding to take the product through various phases of clinical trials and get it to the market. So that's really the interest in the merger and acquisition space. I'm not sure how many of you know, but in 2023, Pfizer acquired Seagen, an oncology biotech company, for about $43 billion. And we thought this is probably the largest acquisition, but we were surprised in 2024 by the number of acquisitions. And 2025, we've just completed 6-7 months of 2025, and we see already a significant amount of acquisitions happening. So that's a really positive trend. It just shows that the R&D pipeline is strong. If you look at the top 10 pharma, each one of them are investing about 15% plus of their revenue into R&D. They all have healthy pipelines, which essentially means there is more need for pharmacovigilance professionals, people who are skilled and people who can really manage the overall pharmacovigilance system. So a very positive trend in the market as far as mergers, acquisitions is concerned. The other trend that's happening is demergers. Uh, Companies have realized that it's important to have business units who can really work specifically in their area of strength. So for example, Novartis has offspun its generic division to create Sandoz, or Sanofi has offspun its consumer health division to create Opella, or GSK and Pfizer, they've offspun their consumer health division to create Haleon. And the latest was J&J, which has offspun to create Kenvue. So the large pharma has realized that it's important for different business units to work more independently, make sure that the patient safety aspects are covered, and therefore these demergers are happening, which essentially again means that the industry has a lot of opportunities to align on the overall pharmacovigilance system. Now, all of this obviously has to be managed within a budget, just like clinical research or clinical trial takes about $2 billion and about 12 to 18 years to get a product to the market. For the same way, the pharmacovigilance departments in various organizations have a budget. They need to work within the budget. Obviously, as you see the inflation and the cost increasing, they have obviously lower budgets. And that is where pharma companies are using the various tools, including things like process excellence, including things like technology, data, and also at the same time looking at partners who can help them to bring in all of these elements and be able to deliver pharmacovigilance more effectively. Now, if you look at outsourcing, when I started in the industry, outsourcing was very operational. People were outsourcing because they wanted support from a staff perspective. Today, outsourcing or partnership has become more strategic. The companies are talking about, I need a partner who can be a consultant, who can give me technology, and who can also manage my operations. And managing all three of them together obviously has a complexity, but also it is a win-win situation from a pharma and a CRO perspective. So that's how the overall landscape has changed in the last 20 years. And if you look at the trend, I think it's very exciting times ahead. The next 5-10 years in pharmacovigilance, with the incoming volume, with the with the kind of work that's coming in, it's going to be very exciting to see how technology, how process excellence, and how the partnership management will help us to move forward. Next slide, please. This is the overall pharmacovigilance process. I will not spend too much time. I'm sure all of you know this. Just a snapshot to say, sometimes when I talk to people, people feel that pharmacovigilance is just about checking the chemicals or checking the substances. Pharmacovigilance is about ensuring that
Laukik, is there a network issue?
I think, sir.
Yeah. And Tarun sir is joining in another 15 minutes. So we can wait for Gurupreet sir to join in once again. So if he joins, we can continue because Tarun sir said that he's in one more meeting. So he's joining in another 10-15 minutes. So we can wait for Tarun sir to join and then we can close this one more session. So I think we can have some discussion over if there are any questions from YouTube. Uma can take up that questions and we can uh, look into this aspect.
I'll check in a moment, sir. Meanwhile, sir, can we speak a little about the upcoming event, which is International Pharmacist Day and its celebrations, until Gurpreet sir joins back or gets his network back?
Yeah, I think Gurpreet sir is having network issue. So we'll have an
Please have a discussion on the International Pharmacist Day.
yeah, I
We'll
think
get
Gurpreet
those
sir is
questions for
trying to
you
join. I
very
think
soon.
he is one more time trying to join. So in the meantime, we'll speak more about FIP. So the new information which we have got is we are going to celebrate International Pharmacist Day as per FIP, Federation of International Pharmacy Association, on
Can,
September 25th.
can
Yeah,
you hear me? Sorry.
yeah. Now you are audible, sir.
I'm sorry.
You can continue, Gurpreet sir. We have another 15-20 minutes to join Tarun Jot Singh sir. So if you can continue for 15-20 minutes, it will be great for us.
Yeah, no, I will. I will. Actually, there was a network issue. Are you able to see hear me now? Right.
Yeah. Now I think it's very clear. We have another
Great.
15-20 minutes to have Tarun Jot Singh here. So if you can
I will do that.
have the session for 15-20 minutes and then we can hand it over to Tarun sir and he can continue there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
I think I still have a few more slides to cover, so I'll do
Yeah,
that. All right.
15-20
Next slide,
minutes
please.
because he said he is in another meeting.
Okay, next slide, please. So, partnerships, like I said, have evolved. They are no longer operational. We are talking about partnerships from the perspective of consulting services and technology all put together. No longer we are talking about operational partnerships. We are all talking about how we could bring in more strategic partnerships so that these strategic partnerships can help the pharma company manage pharmacovigilance more effectively. And that's really going to be the future, looking at partners who can bring in efficiency not only from a services perspective but also from a technology perspective. Next slide, please. Right. Next, I'm talking about digital transformation and PV. And, I'm sure all of you know about technologies and the impact of technologies. So I wanted to leave you with a thought of about the top 10 technologies that, in my view, have really changed and will continue to evolve as we progress. The first one, obviously, the most important part of pharmacovigilance is the safety databases. In the last 20 years, I have seen databases evolve, from being extremely primitive where obviously we had to do a lot of manual efforts, to today talking about safety databases which have RPA inbuilt, and we've got machine learning and artificial intelligence inbuilt. Just pharmacovigilance safety databases have really evolved, but we don't stop there. We are still looking at how we could use trends like generative AI, agentic AI, and things like that to make our pharmacovigilance safety databases even more effective. There are various kinds of databases in the market. Argus, IQVIA has their database called IQVIA Vigilance Platform. So there are a lot of these safety databases, but the intention is really how do we make databases in such a way that it becomes effective for the usage by people who are actually using, instead of it just adding more manual efforts. The second one, which I already mentioned a bit, was about real world evidence, and one of the most important things in real world evidence is how can we use the electronic health records and medical records, and how can we use these data to really be able to identify signals in real time, and obviously that will help us to bring in better pharmacovigilance surveillance. So analyzing large sets of data is obviously helping us to detect the trends, but at the same time I think it's also a lot of effort in terms of how do we integrate these various kinds of technologies and tools with the existing health records and medical records. Next slide, please. Then I'm talking about data mining and text analytics, like I touched briefly on my previous slide. There's a lot of work that we are doing in this space. We've got a lot of unstructured data, and we want to make sure that this unstructured data is obviously converted into structured. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we use a lot of these text analytics to identify and be able to make decisions. So there's a lot of work happening in that space, whether it's natural language processing or whether it's machine learning. We are making sure that the industry is adopting this as we progress. The next one is obviously signal detection tools. I'm sure all of you know, within pharmacovigilance, signal detection is the most important part, because that's where we are able to make the real difference to patient safety. So we do have good signal detection tools, statistical methods, but it's important now for us to really evolve these. We continue to invest in this space, really making these signal detection tools more effective. And again, the intention being, can we be more proactive than reactive? We want to really be able to identify safety signals at much shorter notice than how we are doing it so far. And to do that, obviously we need to have better tools and more effective ways of working as far as signal detection is concerned. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Right. So machine learning and artificial
Yes, sir.
intelligence, yeah, machine learning and artificial intelligence have become very important. If you look at it, um, I'm sure you know the difference between generative AI and agentic AI. And one of the common examples that I share with people when somebody asks me the difference is essentially, if you were to go to a restaurant, or you want to go to a restaurant to eat food, obviously you will type in your phone and you will find out which are the, let's say, specific type of food restaurants that you want. And Google will give you all of the various options in your locality, how much is the distance and stuff. That really is generative AI. But if you were to have an app which will help you to also book a reservation, pre-order your food, so that while you get in there the food is already ready. That's really where an agentic AI comes into picture, which is on top of the generative AI, to really serve as an agent for you to really be able to manage it. So that's really the future. And I think we are investing big time in this space with machine learning, AI, agentic AI. Can we really make pharmacovigilance more effective, and also really be patients identify patient safety signals in real time? Mobile applications and wearable devices are expected to be the trend in future. We were when I was in a pharma company, we were able to have QR codes which we could scan, and we could report adverse events. Today we are talking about wearable devices. I'm sure in future we will have better apps and better technologies which can help us to track adverse events fairly in real time, and that's a lot of investment that we are doing in this space as an industry, so that we could move forward there. Next slide, please. Can we? Yeah. So now we're talking about data sharing and collaboration platforms. If you remember my previous slide, pharmacovigilance is all about global collaboration between health authorities, collaboration between pharma companies, CROs, obviously various kinds of IT enabled organizations, and also at the same time the global collaboration means global pharmacovigilance teams working with the local country organizations. So there's a lot of collaboration that's happening, and to make that effective, it's important for us to have good data sharing platforms. And obviously we've got several cloud based platforms and tools, but I think the intention is always to be better. So companies are really investing in identifying newer tools, newer technologies, so that this data sharing collaboration can happen. And imagine a situation, if an adverse event somewhere in Japan, if we can get reported of that information in real time to all the companies in India, how beneficial that would be to prevent the impact on patient safety. I was talking to a senior team of pharmacovigilance patient safety heads, and all of them were of the same view that it's not about the numbers, the metrics, and the budgets. It's about what can we do with our global collaboration so that we could prevent impact on patient safety. And if we were able to prevent that impact even in one patient, that is really what everybody wants to do. And this is really a good sign for the industry, that it's not about just the money part or about the technology part, but about the final impact, which is how can we protect patients from adverse events in real time and really save the patients from that. So that's where collaboration and data sharing platform are going to hurt. Now, one of the things which always comes up in any of the pharmacovigilance discussions is the data secure, is the data transparent, can we ensure that there is integrity of the data, can we prevent tampering? Now, all of this can actually be addressed by blockchain technology. And we've done a couple of pilots on blockchain, and these pilots have proved very successful because it ensures that there is a full integrity and security, and the transparency of the data is not compromised in any way. That's going to be a very big game changer, because as far as pharmacovigilance is concerned, there is, like I said, there's tons of data. That data has to be analyzed. We want to make sure that we do not have any false signals in signal management. Now, to make that happen, that is where blockchain technology will help the organizations to be able to move forward in the right direction, and obviously then explain to the health authorities why they have done this in a particular way. The one good thing is that with all of these technologies, healthcare or health regulatory authorities are very supportive. Pharma industries are obviously investing, but they're also making sure that they are keeping all of the stakeholders on board with these developments. And that really means that the overall industry is working in a collaborative fashion. Next slide, please. Pretty much my last slide. If you look at when I started in the industry, reporting systems were very manual. Many countries still have manual reporting systems, but what we've looked at is how do we really continue to make automated reporting systems? And many countries have automated reporting systems now, but again, the ones which are automated, can we automate them even further? Can we reduce the manual effort? The intention is to really allow human beings to really manage what is really required, which is the scientific part of it. Whereas all of the automation or all of the work that can be done through machines should be automated. Now, many people talk about artificial intelligence coming in and people losing their jobs and stuff like that. But if you look at in pharmacovigilance and clinical research, the more the AI comes in, the more I think human brain will be utilized for the scientific work. It is going to be important for us to understand that the volume of work that is coming in the next 5-10 years versus the amount of technology adoption versus the upskilling of people, you will see that there is an overall delta where people will actually be required to upskill themselves and manage more things rather than do the manual activities. And that's really the beauty of artificial intelligence absorption in as far as pharmacovigilance and pharma is concerned, because here we are talking about augmented AI. To give you an example, I'm sure all of you know, all of the aeroplanes that we have, they are all pilotless. You can always fly from one place to the other without a pilot, but we still have pilots over there. Maybe in future we may have pilotless planes, but today we are more comfortable when there is a pilot who's manning that airplane, for the simple reason that we believe that there is AI, but there is a human on top of that who's monitoring that AI. Same thing applies to AI adoption in pharma or pharmacovigilance, because we believe that there is a human intervention required on top of AI. There's a need for somebody to really have an eye on quality and compliance, and also make sure that the technology is working in the right fashion. So that's why when we talk about AI in pharmacovigilance or pharma, we talk about augmented AI, wherein technology is required to really manage the more of the manual work, whereas human brain is the one who's really managing technology on top of that. And as we progress, you will see that more and more pharma companies and pharmacovigilance professionals will need to adopt technologies, newer systems, newer apps, and that will all benefit the one person that we're all working for, which is the patient. The intention being that we want to make sure that patient safety is not compromised. Now, if you look at a leadership level, for people like me, it's very important that we get to see this data that's available. That data has to be visualized, and we need to make really meaningful decisions. Remember, one wrong decision can impact patient safety big time, like Vioxx or Ozempic. So the leadership obviously has to have the right tools. The tons of data has to be managed in such a way that you can really have good graphs, charts to visualize that, and then be able to take the rational decisions that's required. So that's where I think data visualization tools are going to be very important. I think these 10 tools, in my view, these 10 obviously automation technologies, etc., are going to be very important in the future. They are going to be the game changers of the industry, and I think all of us obviously will have to learn how to use them. That was pretty much my last slide. I would like to leave all of you with a couple of messages. One, pharmacovigilance as an industry has evolved tremendously in the last 20 years. It will continue to grow. There is no doubt about it. There is a good pipeline of products in the pharma industry. The pharma industry is one of the most innovative industries. So obviously there will be newer products coming in, and obviously there will be adverse events which have to be managed. So there is absolutely a very fantastic time in terms of pharmacovigilance impacting or improving patient safety. And the second important thing is adoption of technology has become very important. Um, as one of the top leaders rightly said, AI will not replace humans. AI will actually replace humans who do not use AI. So it's very important for us to use technology as far as pharmacovigilance is concerned, and I'm sure all of us can then work together in the pursuit of patient safety. Thank you very much. I'm open for any questions now.
Yeah, Uma, I think one or two questions we can take it up from YouTube because I think Tarun sir is joining in a minute. So we have 1 minute of
Okay.
space and time.
Yes, sir.
Take it
Great.
over.
Just
One.
give.
So are there any questions for me?
Yes, sir. I'm putting it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Uma is.
There is one question, two questions in fact, uh, about how is patient safety being built into drug development from the early stages?
That's a very good question. In fact, as I mentioned, in the last 20 years, patient safety has become so important that the head of patient safety is actually one of the leadership team members of global drug development. He's involved for any product right from day one. So like everybody knows, pharmacovigilance starts right from preclinical phase nowadays. So the head of patient safety being on that leadership table is aware of all the products in development, and his team is actively involved from day one. And that's really, like I said, what has changed, because what we want to make sure is prevent the next Vioxx from happening. And to make that happen, the patient safety department has to get involved from day one. So definitely, I think patient safety is getting a lot of importance in drug development. In fact, they have a lot of say as far as the overall processes are concerned, and that will continue to happen in the next few years.
Yeah, mostly talking about. The first one in that is how do you balance automation with the need for clinical judgment in global safety case assessment?
Excellent. That's a very good question. See, like I said before, in pharmacovigilance, automation or technology is all about being augmented. There has to be a balance. Not everything can be automated. Not everything AI can solve. But obviously, it can help solve the ones which are currently taking a lot of effort, manual efforts, where there are structured data and where there is a opportunity for the AI to be able to track that information. But there is still no replacement for human intelligence, because at the end of the day, if you need a physician to do a medical review, you will need that physician, because he has that basic understanding, the clinical practice, and the judgment to be able to identify whether the event is related to the drug or not. And same thing applies whether it's aggregate reports or signal management. The physician obviously still has the final say in terms of assessment of the case and giving the final judgment. So while automation and technology will help or will support the physician, I don't think they will be able to replace the physicians, or in for that matter, the safety scientists and people like that who are required to then assess the case to make sure that it is in line with the requirements.
Okay. If you permit, I would like to ask the last question. This is about your
Please.
experience. In your experience, what are the biggest failures you have seen when AI models are applied to patient safety, and how can they be avoided? And it has another question, which I'll be asking later, but I would like you to answer this first.
Sure. See, if you look at it, there have been obviously failures. I will not deny that. I think we always talk about success, but what we forget is that success is actually the outcome of multiple failures. You learn from various failures. There have been instances where we put in certain strategies. I remember for one drug we had put in a very strong PV safety strategy, and for whatever reasons those strategies didn't work, and then we had to do some last minute changes to adjust to that strategy. So no doubt, within pharmacovigilance we have successes and failures. I think the mantra is always that we succeed as a team, and then obviously as a failure, me as the leader, I believe in taking responsibility for that, obviously supporting the team through that failure, and then developing them so that we could learn from that and not have a similar situation in future. So you know to answer your question specifically, yes, there have been failures, but the good thing about the failures is that you learn the most from them. And when you are actually successful, you don't learn much. If you've been successful, you're basking the glory, but from the failures, what you learn, that really helps you to be successful in the next endeavor.
That's a wonderful answer. So, the last part of this question is, what are the blind spots
Tanzania have joined. We can
that,
have this question.
yeah, what are the blind spots, at least one or two examples in your experience that regulators and the company should be cautious about, in your opinion?
I think one of the biggest blind spots is that we are while we're talking a lot about inspection readiness, what we're actually missing out is the impact it's happening on patient safety. By and large, pharma companies have become so focused on metrics and data and the preparation for inspection, that they don't realize that there is an impact on patient safety that needs to be there. I think the biggest blind spot is we need to actually also take a step back, forget all the metrics, the budget, the numbers, and really talk about how are we contributing to patient safety. Can we contribute in a better way, and go back and talk to the patient, because I think there are many events, many issues happening with the patient which may not be aware of. So once we start looking more at a broader level of patient safety, I think we will be able to overcome those blind spots. Right now, I think most of us are very much busy into the metrics and the data and the day-to-day operations and stuff. But I think I always believe, when I get in the morning, I always believe one important thing: how am I contributing to patient safety? And that really helps me to clear all the blind spots that are there.
Thanks for being so transparent while answering this question, sir. Thanks a
Thank
lot
you.
for your wonderful presentation. Though the network was not
Thank you.
supporting you, you have given the utmost kind of a response to all the students and all the participants over here. Thank you so much for your wonderful time, and thanks a lot one more time.
Yeah. So I'll just hand it
Thank you.
over.
Thank you, everyone.
Uh, okay, let me. Okay. Laukik. can we do one thing? Can we stop the YouTube live and can we have the students join directly to this session, please?
Okay, sir.
So we can directly have the session, all the people to join in here. You can inform our people to join in this Zoom link. Okay.